Today, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to look at the Phantom Shuttles, number 1 and number 2, and see which one comes out best. I think you might be surprised.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Mando number 5.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to my channel, Mando number 5, and I'm Keith Guppy. So I thought we'd do something a bit different this week, and with the release of the HasLab Ghost, there's loads of videos about that, I thought we'd have a little bit of a dive into the Phantom Shuttle. Now, this is the Phantom 1 Shuttle, which came out in the Rebels line from 2014, but obviously those of you that are Ghost, they know that the Ghost now comes with Shuttle Phantom number 2. So I thought we'd do a bit of a compare and analysis. I thought we'd compare them, give them some scores, look at maybe Ghost interaction, the features on both of the shuttles, and maybe the look and the weathering, and how realistic they look. But those of you who know me well, you know I don't open anything. However, now these Shuttle Phantom number 1s are going for quite a lot of money now. They're going for like 50, 60 quid. So that's quite a lot for a Rebels vehicle. But I have got two. They're slightly different, but I'm prepared to open this one. Yes, shock horror. I am going to open this Phantom number 1 today. Only because I have also got this version, which comes the bonus figure. So I thought, well, what the hell? I've got two. This is slightly different. So I am going to open Shuttle Phantom version number 1 and compare that to the Phantom number 2. So before we look at Phantom number 2 here on the Ghost, as you can see, let's have a bit more of a look at Phantom number 1. As always, if you enjoy the channel, please subscribe, please hit the like button and chuck in those comments. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. I am going to open yet another vehicle. I opened the Ghost a few weeks ago and I was shaking when I did this. I'm a bit the same with this because those of you know me, you know I don't open anything. But anyway, let's stop yapping and let's get on with it. I might forward this one because it's never very exciting when you open a vehicle. And I don't do this very often, so let's get it opened anyway and see what it's like inside. So let's get it open. Right. Okay, there it is. Mint in box, never been opened. So let's pull it out if I can. There you go. Right. Okay, there it is. So I shall build this up. I won't put the stickers on for now, but I'll build it up and then we can start our little comparison. So here it is, the Phantom Attack Shuttle number 1. Yeah, and first impressions are okay. In terms of features, you've got a firing gun on top, which is pretty cool. That fires a bullet. You've got the wings that fold out here, but only look any good really when you pick it up and sort of show it in a flying pose. So it looks pretty cool in that respect. You've got some spare bullets here, which go on the front, and then you've got these come out that far. I don't really know what they do really. They don't fire, so I don't quite know what they do. I think these spare ones are just for effect, if I'm honest with you. But you have got an opening cockpit, as I'll show you here. Opening cockpit there, which will allow a one-armed, one-handed stormtrooper to nicely fit in the cockpit. So that fits okay like that. That goes down fine. So the cockpit is functional, so it's not too bad. And then you have got the inside. So in here you've got a seat, so you've got a passenger area or storage area. And again, my one-handed vintage stormtrooper fits quite nicely in there, and that goes down fine like that. Now I haven't put the stickers on, but So that does detract a little bit from it, but disappointingly there's not much weathering. If you look here, there's no weathering on the vehicle at all, just plain sort of a creamy off-white, which is a shame. There is no landing gear, which is a shame. So when you, as I said, when you pose it with the sides down as opposed to up, then they just sit a bit flat and it looks a bit if it had some landing gear, then maybe you could pose it like that, but I guess it is flight mode. The glass is semi-tinted, which is quite a nice effect, and like I said, you have got a firing gun like so, you know, that's not a bad little feature. So overall, not a bad vehicle. These obviously fold up for when they land, so it tidies it up a little bit. I'm not sure what the guns are about because they just sit out like that. There's nothing happens underneath. No. So there you go. But I think it's worth just seeing how it looks with the Ghost. It's not, I don't think for a minute it's going to fit on the Ghost. But let's have a little look, and then what we'll do, we'll look at the Phantom 2. We'll see how that looks, and we'll also look at them side by side and give them some scores. So let's have a look to see how the Ghost Phantom number 2 will fit on the Ghost. So obviously we've got Phantom number 1 here, which fits lovely on the back. It's made for it. Yeah, it is what it is. We'll look at that a bit more later on. But let's have a look to see how the Phantom number 1 fits on the back. It's a little bit bigger than Phantom number 2, but let's have a look. Yeah, I really like that. If you look here, look, there's a slot. That slot is almost perfect to fit him in. It's not great on the back, but it's a shame because they just took the Ghost, so they just simply made a bit of an indentation there. Those engines would have fitted in lovely. But I think actually, looking at that, we pan back a little bit and see the whole vehicle. I think that's a pretty damn good fit. I mean, it looks really, really cool. It's slightly not the same white, but that's not bad at all. I think for a vehicle that was made way before the Ghost, I think that fits pretty damn good and looks pretty good. And there's a bit of a wider shot, a different view of the Phantom number 1 sitting on the Ghost. And I think it looks pretty damn cool. And I'll just do a quick comparator shot of the Phantom 1 and Phantom 2 on the Ghost. Here's a shot of the Phantom 1 from the side angle compared with the Phantom number 2. And then on the back, we've got, again, the Phantom number 1. And on the back, we've got the Phantom number 2. And here is our Phantom number 2 from the Ghost. So again, first impressions, it looks a little bit better. It's got more weathering on it. It's got a bit of weathering, a bit of wear and tear. So the look of it is pretty cool. But in terms of features, it doesn't do much. It's got no firing guns on it. It has got landing gear, I grant you, which go up and down. So it sits quite nicely on the table and displays quite nicely. It's got an opening cockpit here. So, you know, can it easily fit my slightly disabled stormtrooper inside? Let me have a look. The answer is no, I don't think it can. So I don't think it can fit 4 POA figures. I'll have another go off camera, but I'll come back to you if I can, but I don't think it will. So that's a bit of a downer because you can only put modern figures inside. The cockpit's very small. Yeah, so the weathering's better. It's got a chopper on the side, but chopper, I think the head comes off, but it's a slightly out of scale chopper from the figure. So it has got that. The guns don't fire at all. I love the paintwork on it, and you know, but you can't get inside it. There's no opening hatch at the back. It's just got the landing gear. So I mean, a bit disappointed. And in fact, I mean, the other Phantom actually fits on the Ghost quite nicely. So, you know, if you weathered the other one, maybe. So let's have a little look at them side by side before we give them the scores. So here they are, side by side, ladies and gentlemen. And yeah, so this Phantom is quite a bit bigger than the other one. I think it's probably about another, probably 3/4 inch longer. certainly wider overall. Well, probably about the same actually, but slightly wider, much more bulkier. Obviously, you've got the opening top on this one where you can put a figure in, which is cool. Not as nicely weathered. I think there's a better tint on this windscreen as well. Certainly more interaction. I think if you weathered this slightly, sort of, you know, washed it with a bit of grey, put a bit of weather in, and I would probably prefer to have this one, believe it or not, on my Ghost, which is a real surprise. I mean, I didn't think for a minute it would fit on there. It had been thought about, but I think it did, because this width here is just about the same width as the slot on the Ghost. So I'm really surprised actually, and I'm really glad I opened it. So let's give it a few scores and see who comes out on top. Yeah, so like some of you, I'm a bit blown away by the Phantom number 1, the one from the Rebels line. It actually fits really well on the Ghost. So let's do our little comparison. So the first category, and these are marked out of 10, is the Ghost interaction. Now, of course, you can't beat number 2 in terms of interaction. It fits nicely in there. It's made to fit, so you can't knock it. However, I think that the Phantom number 1 actually fits pretty well. So I've scored the interaction for the Phantom number 2 as 9 out of 10. Probably a 10, but I'm going to give it 9. I don't give 10s very often. And I'm going to give the Phantom number 1 a good 7. I think with a little modification, it could have got an 8 or a 9, and it does not look out of place on the Ghost. So there's the interaction. So next, I'm looking at features. So the Phantom number 1, loads of features. It's got an opening storage area. It's got a firing gun. It's got the canopy that comes up, and you can fit all figures in there, even vintage figures. You've got the wings that come out on the sides, and you've got some guns at the front that come out, albeit they're pretty useless. But I think that is pretty cool. So I'm going to give that a firm 7 out of 10 for features. However, the Phantom number 2 don't do a lot. You've got a latch, you've got the cockpit that opens, you've got some landing gear, and that is about it, and a chopper that goes around that's slightly out of scale. So yeah, not great. I'm going to give that, because it's pretty much just a chunk of plastic. I'm no opening back door, which is a shame. So I'm going to give that only 3 out of 10. So let's look at the weathering and the look of it. Now, this is pretty cool. It's got a lovely bit of artwork on the back wing. It's got some weathering on the yellow paint there, on the paint here. So it looks pretty cool. It hasn't got a tinted windscreen, which I think is quite good on the other one. The bottom's pretty basic. So I think I'm going to give the Phantom number 2 a 7 for the look of it. It's pretty good. And then finally, the Phantom number 1, there's no weathering on it, which is a real shame. I like the cockpit glass. I think that's quite good that it's tinted like that. I really like that. So that saves it a little bit, but it's not as good as the Phantom number 2. So I'm going to give that a 6. Yeah. So what does that give us? So you'll be very surprised that this one, the Rebels original one, gets a score of 20. And the new one, for me, my personal opinion, is this gets a score of 19. So this is not as good, I don't think, as the original one. And the main reason is because it fits quite nicely on the Ghost, quite nicely on display. And I really think that's unusual and cool. And I'm hoping someone, Steve at Hasbro, whoever it is, has actually thought about that. So there you go. That's my opinion. That's my review. I suspect you'll see a few more of these sitting on Ghosts now I've done this, hopefully. But put in your comments what you think. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Mando number 5.